Hello everyone, welcome back to Archangel RC. Now, usually I do not review such items, but recently found myself in need of a handheld gimbal for my smartphone and decided to give the FUNSNAP Capture 2 a go. And to be completely honest, for the $80 price tag, I was exceptionally surprised by what the gimbal had to offer, and even more so when it actually delivered on most of it. True, it kind of coincided with me getting the DJI Osmo Action as well, but the two can have very different uses, and the DJI actually does get mounted on planes, so I never actually know when I'm going to be left without it due to a lost plane 20 kilometers away. Also, the Capture 2 does have some tricks up its sleeve that the DJI camera just can't do, and I will get to that in a few moments. There is an accompanying app for your smartphone sporting the same name, and what it does is actually give you control of the phone's camera from the buttons and the dial on the gimbal. One of the most useful features is the zoom dial, which is so convenient to use and actually makes that useful while shooting a video. As a comparison, trying to shoot something without the gimbal and on the move destroys all chances of using zoom, and even then there is this annoying shaking of the phone when you're trying to pinch the screen to zoom and then are trying to get the right amount of zoom. The app along with this dial make this a non-issue, and in addition you get smooth footage because the phone is stabilized. Another more interesting function is the object and face tracking capabilities, which actually do bloody work. Well, not without a fault, but they do work much better than I thought possible at this price point. Basically, the app does the tracking on the video feed and then controls the gimbal around to follow the object or your face depending on which type of tracking you've selected. The object tracking is a bit weird as it tends to lose it when you move to look at the object from a different angle, and then the gimbal starts going in some pretty weird directions to try and search for it, but in some situations it would work pretty good. The face tracking is definitely more useful and works much better, and would come in handy when you're alone at the field and want to talk at the camera about something while walking around. You won't have to be careful to stay in frame because the frame will move along with you. It even manages to keep up with a quickened pace and is able to keep track even when you turn your head to the side and walk around. That is pretty darn impressive in my book. Truth be told, I have not checked or seen many other gimbals. I assume at this point others will probably support those functions as well, but I was seriously impressed by this thing and had so much fun testing it out. As for the effectiveness of this thing as a gimbal, it does improve things a lot compared to carrying the phone by hand. I did some testing, and if you take a look at this footage, here I am chasing the plane on foot, phone in my hand and no gimbal, running full speed after it, and thankfully there was a lot of headwind that day, so I was able to catch up more easily, no chance of catching it otherwise. You can see the video is pretty much unusable and shakes like crazy. And now look at this similar situation with the phone on the gimbal. There is some movement and some slight shaking, but the video is actually watchable and the object does not move all over the screen, making it hard to focus on and see. And keep in mind, I am running as fast as I can. On the way back, it was more of a jog and it looks much better, but you can definitely see that using the gimbal makes a huge difference. Might not yield the same results as the DJI Osmo Action, but it does cost $80 and makes use of a smartphone you already have without the need to shell out almost $400 either for the GoPro 7 or the DJI camera. So I'd say value for money in terms of performance and features is exceptionally high with this one. Now, I did play with the zoom functionality of the gimbal a bit while filming the glider, and it is very convenient, but where it actually shines is in some other areas where it provides a convenient way to use it and zoom one-handed and keep what's important close by. And the stabilization itself ensures you can actually enjoy the view, and oh boy, what a view it is. Honestly, while riding the bike and filming one-handed is where the gimbal really started to make sense. Just look at how the footage is when holding the phone by hand without the gimbal, It does move around quite a bit, and I am making an effort to keep my hands steady while pedaling, and on the other hand, see how smooth it is with the phone on the gimbal. Okay, enough sidetracking. The difference is quite obvious, at least to me. And again, this single-handed, non-shaking, smooth zoom is an absolute treasure. It is a great addition to the gimbal, and so is the app, which works so well. I honestly still can't believe it. My experience so far with Chinese apps and electronics from non-brand manufacturers has been that for the most part they do not work, but this one actually works, and not only that, it works exceptionally well. No crashes, no bugs so far, it just does what it promises, which was a shock to me at this price. Next, I did some tests in an everyday scenario, running after or away from your kids, depending on the situation. And initially, I had the phone on the gimbal, and the footage looks pretty smooth and nice, given that I am jogging backwards, and the baby looked happier. After that, I removed the phone from the gimbal and did the same thing, and I hope you can see that the footage is shakier as I move around, and also the baby doesn't seem quite happy with the resulting video. The kid knows her stuff. I also tried shooting some footage of the UR-UAV UR85 HD Racer with the phone while holding it myself, and then with it on the gimbal, and you can definitely see a difference. The movements with it on the gimbal are not that sharp and look smoother. Definitely looks better that way, which makes for higher quality video. All was good and fine so far, but then I thought about all the vloggers out there and how I even have that mode on my large Zhiyun gimbal where the camera rotates along the pan axis 180 degrees to turn towards you, but that one does have unlimited rotation on the axis. The Capture 2 does not support unlimited rotation on any axis, which is actually not surprising at this price point, but I guess you could use it in such a way by just holding the gimbal the other way around. Not the most natural thing to do, but it does get the job done, at least for those vlogging on a phone. In most situations though, the gimbal does work very well and would definitely improve the quality of your smartphone recorded videos. Even though it is not exactly foldable, it does have that row axis latch to keep it from moving around too much, so in addition to useful, it is also convenient to carry around and store in a backpack. It comes with a built-in 2200 2S battery which can be charged via the provided micro USB cable and does provide a decent operating time, especially if you take the time to balance the phone on the gimbal properly. The roll axis can be adjusted by hand with no tools necessary. It is friction held, so just grab tightly and move it around as much as is necessary to achieve the balance. The pitch axis can also be balanced by moving the phone up or down in the holder, but it is not as critical. And yeah, you can easily fit larger phones in this one as well. My Moto G7 Plus is just over 6 inches and I think there is still room for more, so even those 6.5-inch models should be an okay fit. Now, I am off to work on the next video, in which you may or may not see some footage shot with the help of this gimbal, but until then, links for all items shown and used in this video can be found in the description below, and should you decide to buy literally anything via those links, you would be supporting this channel at no additional cost to you, and you will have my eternal gratitude as this is my full-time job. Another way you can support me is Patreon. The link is also there, and I would like to say a big thank you to all the people who have supported me so far in any way and would continue to do so. If you have enjoyed this video and found it useful, please feel free to like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to also hit that bell button so you can get a notification when I upload a new video. Also consider following me on Facebook for more regular updates. Happy and safe whatever you're doing, and I will see you again soon.